believe it was 1997, Michael Fitzgerald and I knew one another, and he had done several columns on the mummy. One I remember in particular, it was mummy trivia. He had a whole column on mummy stuff. And so it was great. Michael had an interest. Michael grew up in this area. Michael knew about the mummy. He was fascinated by the mummy as well. He came to me with the proposition, if the Stockton Record could come up with the money to bring in an Egyptologist, would we be interested? And I said, certainly, that would be great. And so he was able to contact an Egyptologist by the name of Patricia Podzorski.
Todd Roostaller and I were talking about the mummy and how much was not known about it. And he said that actually all mummy coffins sort of have a universal product code on them that tells you their name, their station in life, and their lineage, and other things as well. And I thought, oh my gosh, you know, we can find out who this guy was and what he did, and better date him and all that. So I asked Todd, well, how much would an Egyptologist cost to, you know, decipher the hieroglyphics on this guy? And about $2,000. So I trooped up to the publisher, Roger Coover, and I explained to him that for $2,000 we can make a real contribution to the Haggin, to the knowledge about this mummy, and have a great story to boot. So we hired an Egyptologist, and she climbed all over the mummy's coffin like a grease monkey, you know, over and under a car. And she decoded the hieroglyphics, and she compiled it all into a report. And Todd got a copy at the museum, and I got a copy.
And in this report, she had gone to the scientific literature, and she had deciphered, she had basically transcribed and translated all of the writing on the exterior, and she filled in a lot of gaps, and she corrected a lot of inaccuracies. It turns out that he was indeed a priest. Actually, the term is wab, which means pure one, but that's the lower rung of the priesthood, certainly not the highest priest in the area. And he was also a stolist, and that means that each day he would come and he would dress the cult figures of the gods he served. And he served 3 gods, none of which was Thoth, as it said on the loan agreement. Turns out he served the god Osiris, god of the underworld, the god Min, which was a fertility god, and the god Sokar, which was a pretty ancient god, and I believe watched over travelers in the east. We now know who he was, Iret-net-Hor-irw, when he lived, where he lived, what he did, who some of his relatives were. So in the period of time that the mummy has been here, thanks in large measure to the record and Mike Fitzgerald's interest, we've been able to add to the scholarship. Also, some of the x-rays that were taken seem to indicate, based on the way the bones are formed, that he was probably around 25 years of age. It's quite possible, once they run the CT scans, they can fine-tune that age estimate. They can also possibly tell us how the individual died. Sometimes there are forensic clues in what's left of the mummy that can be discovered when they run the CT scan.